Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the um, All Star Wrestling Review Series, this time for the 7th of March 1981. Historic event, we'll get into why in a minute, but SG Jones and the Hangman are up first. If you're new here, we've got literally almost 1,500 audios, probably be 1,500 within the next week or so, on old school, new school, and all points in between professional wrestling. My preference is old school before 1998. I think 1998 is where wrestling began to die. But also, we do cover modern day stuff from a critical standpoint. In any event, Hangman and SD Jones are here. Of course, Jones is the proverbial babyface at the time and manages to be here through most of the 1980s as an enhancement talent and one step above major talent. Bit of a brawl after some side headlock battles there. Hangman looks rather bloated and uninspired, if you want to know the truth, but ultimately it is okay in the sense of kind of a bit of a tie-up there. Then we see attempted power test of strength hold there. Doesn't really go the way the Hangman intends because Jones is hesitant about it in the beginning. I think he understands that the Hangman's about to cheat, and cheating is not something Jones wants to be part of by any stretch of the imagination, on the victim side of. Anyway, armbar by the Hangman after taking his man down rather illegally. Arm wringer along the way, gets as much as he can out of his opponent, and stays on the arm for the next several minutes. We go into the Hangman getting more of a brawling style with Jones. It sends him into the corner, but Jones fights his way out with some kicks along the way. Not exactly, your five-star classic, according to Dave Meltzer, but still a useful match nonetheless. Jones backs his opponent into the corner and again kind of continues to go into a situation where eventually they brawl back and forth, and a 10-minute time limit draw is your result here. We then go into a tie-up with another enhancement match here. And again, ultimately these enhancement matches are here to kind of show value to a degree. We get Don Morocco with the Grand Wizard against Pete Mitchell, and Yoshiatsu and Frank Savage. Frank Savage and Yoshiatsu, I believe, is the match in front of us now. And ultimately, Yatsu had been imported from Japan. I believe there was a trade agreement at the time between New Japan and the WWF. I'm pretty sure in the early 80s that still existed, as Vince Sr. would often go to that part of the country. The back and forth, Savage not very impressed with his adversary. Tries to choke him out over the top rope, doesn't get what he wants on that. Hits a few elbows and other strike-related holds. Takedown by Yatsu, who isn't willing to take a backward step, tries to get a almost modified spinning toe hold. Savage comes back up with a front face lock and tries to get a crank up on the hold, as it were. Again, doesn't get all he wants out of it. Then goes into a neck vice and a leaning, almost like a cravat, into the attempted sleeper hold. Doesn't exactly get what he wants on that, but it's here, and it's unfriendly, and eventually Yatsu gets the victory in 6:45. Ultimately, we move on to another situation. There is a challenge by Fred Blassie to the world champion. Obviously, Killer Khan is with Blassie. Killer Khan also had injured Andre the Giant around this time in 1981, and there is interplay that Blassie can speak Mongolian. Blassie makes fun of Mongolia, kind of the upper and northern Mongolia, how many humps there are on camels in Mongolia, all sorts of zaniness. Fred Blassie in a powder blue suit, just fun to watch from that perspective. Um, I say this is historic because a masked enhancement talent comes out for the Cobra Clutch Challenge. Sergeant Slaughter is a heel at this point and is endorsing the Cobra Clutch as an unbeatable move. He is telling people to be respectful, and they do not want to be because he is not. The Grand Wizard out there with him, among other things. Sarge is unchallenged by what is going on. Eventually, Pat Patterson says that he will take the Cobra Clutch Challenge. What follows is amazing dramatizations and just amazing things. Um, Pat Patterson rolls through. Pat Patterson had been doing broadcasting on and off during this time period. Eventually rolls through the Cobra Clutch. And needless to say, over several minutes, you see a brawl erupt between Patterson and Slaughter, which leads to their alley fight feud. Um, the nature of Slaughter hooking on the hold and Patterson breaking free several times, or at least trying to. Patterson eventually gets busted open with the wooden chair that Slaughter brought to the ring, but refuses to quit. Patterson has been laid out, rare to see at this time. The Moondogs, in a match from an earlier TV taping, are also here. Moondogs facing off with various challengers. And again, the Moondogs at the time are another of Captain Lou Albano's eventually what ends up being 20 tag teams that he manages over the next several years. Lots of people are fans of the Moondogs. I think I even saw a Moondog or two on the Independents in the early 2000s. Not originals, obviously, but punch kick, basic stuff by the Moondogs, choking their adversaries out over the top rope. Lou Albano tries to take every cheap shot he can get for his team, the Moondogs, and we continue to go into brawling. Moondogs don't want to back out, but at the same time are more known for brawling. Captain Lou brought into things, and one of the Moondogs sends their opponent into the steel post on the outside, and then we kind of get another match here with Hans Mosca going after an enhancement talent, and a couple of shots. Of course, Mosca managed also by Albano. A couple of shots in from Mosca, and without a doubt, the brawl down there is pretty aggressive, and quick 3 or 4 minute victory there. We'll be back with more right after this.